Hey everyone, welcome back to another lecture of our SwiftUI Crash Course series. And in today's video, we will be talking about environment objects in SwiftUI. So environment objects are pretty new concept. Like it was not previously available in UI kit. It has been introduced in SwiftUI only. And it is very convenient way to share data from let's say parent view to some last element in the child view. Let's say we have user data in our parent screen and we have to use it in our last screen. So what approaches do we have? So one approach is passing the data from one view to another, then from another child view to another, and this way we can pass it down the last screen by passing it through all the middle screens. So this is one way of passing the data, but you can see that if we use this way, then we are actually passing unnecessary data to the child views which actually don't need it. They are just receiving it so that they can forward it to another screen. So this doesn't sound that good, and we should totally avoid it. So one way to avoid it is by using environment object. And in this video, we'll see how we can use those environment object concepts to minimize these kind of situations and pass data from parent to the last child view easily. So let's dive into the code, and you will see that I already have some code written just to save some time. So we have a parent view. This is our parent view actually, and let's call it parent view. All right. So we have a parent view, and inside the parent view we are adding navigation stack, and then we have a button which will just navigate us to another child view. Then we have a child view which also has a navigate button which will navigate to us to another child view. Similarly, we are navigating to child 1, child 2, child 3, and let's just rename this preview to parent view. So this child 3 view is actually our last screen. So let's say we have to pass some data from parent view to our child 3 view, which is our last view. Let's call it last view. That would be much cleaner. Okay, and here let's say go to last screen. Okay, so now we have a parent view and we have to navigate to last view. Now let's create a class that will store some user data. Let's create it as ObservableObject. We already learned ObservableObject, state object in our previous video. If this concept is totally new to you, then I would suggest you to go back to the previous lecture. I will add the link in the top right corner in the I button. Those of you who already know, let's continue. So we created a user data and now we want to use it in our parent view. Alright, so we got the user data, and now let's add a text to show the username. So we'll say user data.username. So we just added a text in our navigation stack to show our username. Alright, so we have our username and then we have go to navigate button. Alright, and this username is what we passed here. Alright, so now we want to pass this user data to our last view. So what options do we have? So one way, which we already discussed, is by passing it to our child view 1, then passing it to our child view 2, and then passing it to last view. Let's see how it can be done. So let's say we want to use it here. Let's say we also want to show it in our VStack here. So we will have to get it from our previous screen, right? So we will have to create an observable object user data, which will be of type user data, and we will receive it from our previous screen. So here it will start throwing us an error that it is missing an argument. So we will have to pass our user data from here to this. Similarly, if we want to show it in our child 2 view 2, we will have to pass it here. Again, we will have to pass the user data here. So you understand what I'm doing, right? I just want to show that how we have to pass the data, single data, multiple times to make it available to our last child view. So similarly, we will have to pass the data here also, and then let's add the text here. And now we will be able to pass our data here. So now to make the user data available, we had to actually send it to all the child views in between, which surely isn't a good idea, because child 1 view, child 2 view, these views didn't needed the user data. Our last view needed it, but because there's no way to send data from parent to child, we had to transfer the data to all the mediators. And now once I click on this go to child screen 1, we have the text, and we also have the text here. So this is one way, but this is not the proper way. So the proper way would be to use an environment object. And now let's see how we can avoid this passing the unnecessary data to child views by just implementing an environment object. So let's remove all this code. Let's keep it here in the last view, but remove it from all the other places. I'll just undo all the changes that I did. Till here we will keep. So I removed all the code that we wrote inside our child views. All right. So here we have the user data. Let's just show it here in text. User data.username. So on our parent view, we are showing the username. Okay. So we have the username on our parent view, and once we click on the child views, we want to show the username here on the last screen without passing through all the child views in this navigation stack. So to achieve this, we just need to add an environment object here. And inside this environment object, we want to pass this user data variable. So once we add this environment object modifier and pass our state object here, we are saying that all the child views of the navigation stack will now be able to use this environment object that we created, and all the child views can access this variable by just calling the environment object. So let's say we want to use it in our last view, which is actually a child view of this parent view, right? So here we can just say environment object var user data and the type of data that we are expecting. And now let's say user data dot username. All right. So we created our environment object here, and now we want to access it in the last view. So let's click on this go to child screen 1, go to child screen 2. Now once we go to last screen, what do you think? Will there be data available or not? Let's see. So once I click here, you'll see that we have the data available here. So we are able to pass the data from our parent to our last view without passing it through the child views by just adding an environment object here. And once we have this environment object, any of the child views that need this variable can actually get it by just implementing this environment object user data. Like we can also get it here. And this will work fine too. Any element, any view which is inside this navigation stack can access this environment object by just writing this line. And name can be anything, like I can even say ABC. The name doesn't matter, but this type matters. So now that I have changed the name, still I should be able to use it by just referring to the type that we are expecting. You'll see that we are still able to use it. So the name of the variable doesn't matter, but the type that we are expecting matters. So here we know that that parent view will be sending us some user data type. While using environment object, we have to be pretty sure that this object will be available. If it is not, let's say if I forgot to add this line and I am trying to use it here, it will not throw any error at the runtime. But when I go to this screen, it will say preview crash. So your app will crash if you forgot to pass this environment object. So while using environment object, we have to be pretty sure that this data will be available. And never forget to add the environment object in our parent view. If you forget to add it or comment it just like I did, your preview or your app will get crashed. Let's say you want to use this environment object throughout your app. If you want to use it throughout your app, you can add this environment object directly in your main app here only. Here you can directly add environment object, and you will have to create the variable here first. So if I pass the data in our main app, then every view will be able to use this variable because this is being passed from the parent view. So in the window group, we provide the parent view, right? And we are saying that all the child views that will come after it will be able to use it by just referring to this user data type. So I hope you got a clear idea about how to use environment objects. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks a lot.